gents of the interwebs. This is Deep Issues, webisode number 22 of Deep Issues, to be exact. It's day 5071 in the search for Tim Shovelday. I'm your host, Josh Houselander. With me, my special Deep Issues crew, Ed Zaharsky, Deep Issues aficionado, and Adam Hernandez, the man, the myth, the legend. Tonight's topic is the Bermuda Triangle. You know, in 1492, while Columbus was sailing the ocean blue, he passed through an area which was not called the Bermuda Triangle yet, because, you know, that name didn't come about till much, much later. But he passed through an area that we now call the Bermuda Triangle.
I don't think Bermuda was even called Bermuda then.
No, it was not. But he was passing through this area, and it is well documented that he saw some spectacular lights and what he described as a fire in the sky. And the compasses on the ships all began to malfunction. Like crazy, basically. And this, over 500 years ago, is basically our first tale of what we now know as the Bermuda Triangle. Something that, that term wasn't coined actually till the 1960s. Is when, a lot of some of the crazy stories of the Bermuda Triangle are before that.
It's also known as the Devil's Triangle.
Yes, absolutely, the Devil's Triangle. 1960s, Vincent Gaddis actually is the guy who is credited with coining this phrase of Bermuda Triangle. And then, the Devil's Triangle. But tonight we're going to explore some of that. Is there something to this? Is this just kind of a goofy old myth? Or is there something to this whole scary aspect of the Bermuda Triangle? How's it going, guys? What's up?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. We're good. To start off the show, I mean, where do you guys want to take this, first of all? Do you guys want to, if you don't want to, it's cool, but do you want to share kind of how you lean at the beginning of this? Are you a big Bermuda Triangle fan? Are you, do you buy into this a lot, or do you think it's kind of silly? Adam, I believe you have a story about you had an opportunity to go to the Bermuda Triangle, but you refused.
Oh yeah, just when I was little, my mom, she won like a cruise, and I wouldn't go on the cruise because it was going through the Bermuda Triangle. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. It's just I don't know. I think I was probably like 10 or so, and yeah, I wanted nothing to do with it. I'm like, no.
You're a little kid and you hear that some ships have disappeared in this area, and to you that's just like, oh my god, like I'm going to die if I go on that trip.
Yeah, it's like, are you fucking nuts? I'm not going on this cruise through the Bermuda Triangle. Now I would go to the Bermuda Triangle, but I'm not going on a cruise just because I think cruises are kind of gross, and you hear about other horror stories with it.
So it got even worse as you got older.
Yeah.
So you've pushed aside that old legend of the Bermuda Triangle, and now you're with the legend that oh no, cruises are gross. And horrible.
They're nasty. Yeah, which isn't a legend. That's a fact.
Yeah, they're also a lot of fun. According to like 90% of the people that go on them.
Yeah, I mean, as far as where I stand right now, it seems like there's plenty of logical explanation when it comes to, well, from what I've seen so far, to explain the occurrences surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. And there's actually a I don't want to call it like a sister triangle on the other side of the globe in the East Indies as opposed to the West Indies. So I forgot the markings on it, because the Bermuda Triangle is actually Bermuda, Miami, and Puerto Rico. That makes up the Bermuda Triangle. I can't remember what makes up its counterpart in the East Indies, what islands make it.
And they basically the rough estimate, and this is such a rough estimate too, but they claim that the area that is considered the Bermuda Triangle is between 1.3 million and 3.9 million kilometers squared.
It's a big area.
That is a huge area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually that's the best I could find of laying down how big it was, but that's a pretty lousy guesstimation in there too. That's the only narrowing. There's 2.6 million kilometers that are give or take in the estimate I just gave. So I'm not real proud of that estimate.
Well, just look at it on a map. It's a pretty big,
yes,
pretty big square footage.
Yeah, it's sizable. Very, very sizable.
No, so I mean, this is something that we've all kind of grew up with hearing about.
It's close to us. I mean, it's relatively close to us, and again, we consider the world.
And I feel like, do you guys feel like the idea of the Bermuda Triangle, that this legend has grown or decreased in our lifetime?
I certainly do think it's decreased.
I think it has. It seemed a lot bigger when I was younger. Like I think if I would have been at the same age as Adam and asked if I wanted to go there, I probably would have said no too.
Yeah,
because
I'm
of my preconceptions of it. But nowadays, I'd be like, hell yeah, free cruise.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you too. And no, I remember as a kid,
wanting something for free. Shocker coming from.
Yeah. I remember
your liberal leanings have rubbed off on you. That's how shit works nowadays, doesn't it?
All right.
Oh yeah, give me mine.
Well, I'm glad that tonight's deep issue is one as perhaps not deep. Well, this is in some ways it's our deepest issue.
Yeah, consider where it is.
Yeah, I mean how much deeper can you get than the water in the Bermuda Triangle? But it's perhaps not the deepest issue we've discussed here in Deep Issues. Proof positive being that Adam and Ed are actually high-fiving over and agreeing on something, which has virtually never happened on this show ever. So first time for everything. But I agree with you guys, though. I do think that the thrill of this, or the conspiracy or the mystery behind the Bermuda Triangle has kind of died out over the last couple of decades. And I think some of that is maybe some science coming out around it, maybe explaining this stuff.
I think there's a perfect explanation for it, but I'm going to save it for when we're wrapping up.
Well, there's a man named Karl Kretilanicki. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but I think I'm saying it right. He's from the UK, and he's kind of like one of the ultimate and original Bermuda Triangle haters. I mean, this guy is basically, he wrote some articles, he did some studies, and he kind of has dispelled a lot of the rumors and broken it down. Now, there is no doubt that a lot of weird things have happened around the Bermuda Triangle. There's definitely some strange accounts. There's some very interesting stories, some weird occurrences. With that being said, for those of you who aren't that familiar with the topic, please know that people do sail through and fly over the Bermuda Triangle every single day.
You're doing it right now.
Yeah, you would almost think, hearing about this, that like, oh, did they just like route all the flights like around it? Like, do cruises, do they stay off of it? And like, no, they just treat it like it's any other place. I mean, if there's weird stuff happening, it's not happening to everyday people as they cruise or fly through the area.
Right. And according to Karl Kretilanicki, he says that that by percentage, if you were to take a triangle, an imaginary triangle of the same size, and draw it anywhere else in the ocean, that you'd pretty much get the exact same percentage of ships and planes and submarines going down in these areas. Do I know that that's proof positive? No, I actually do not. I don't know. what I find is weird, and I'm going to kind of maybe support some of the Bermuda Trianglers on this one, is that these guys that always want to naysay on the Bermuda Triangle always want to tell you that statistically it's really not even that weird. If you list another stat they like to give is if you list the top 10 most dangerous areas in the world for shipping, Bermuda Triangle's not there. It's not in the top 10. It's not even on the list.
I'm guessing the colder climates are probably topping that list.
Yeah, and it's mostly in and around Asia, Africa. The British Isles are actually more dangerous than the Bermuda Triangle by some of the definitions they've given. But then at the same time, they do want to break down and tell you all the reasons why the Bermuda Triangle, why these accidents happen. And part of the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle isn't that ships sink or that planes crash, because most of us know that ships do sink and planes do crash.
Mm-hmm.
But the mystery behind the Bermuda Triangle is about how wreckages are rarely found. And strange things happen to make the ships crash. And the ships sink. Or, the ships sink and the planes crash. That's what's weird. These places that they list that, this place is, these 10 or 12 places are far more dangerous than the Bermuda Triangle. But most of those places, vast majority of accidents there can be explained immediately. Oh, the ship sank here. Well, yeah, because another ship crashed into it.
Mm-hmm.
This plane crashed. Yeah, well, it was pilot error. We recovered the black box. It happened. They're more of your normal run-of-the-mill crashes, accidents, mistakes. But with the Bermuda Triangle, there's a long history of it being unexplained.
Go ahead, Ed.
I was say that doesn't necessarily mean there's anything special about the triangle, though. I mean, Roswell, New Mexico had, some event that happened. Does that mean there's something special about that place that you're always going to run into aliens, or was that just, one or maybe a couple of sort of isolated events? Like you could very easily have some of those things happening in the Bermuda Triangle without it being specific to the triangle.
I think that and I see what you're saying, Ed, and I mean, to kind of, I don't know, going along with it, but they were trying to explain, and again, they very, very, reasonable explanations on what could happen with this. And I mean, first and foremost, I mean, this area of the world is a very busy location, as far as shipping and flights and whatever. So you would think that, again, the more traffic you have in some area, the more probability there could be some type of incident. I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, are there going to be more traffic accidents on a busy stretch of highway than there are on some backcountry road? Yeah, probably. So it only makes sense that, the same rules apply to the Bermuda Triangle that apply in anywhere else in the world where there's traffic, whether that be boat, plane, or automobile. And to go along with that too is it is still open water. It's not a controlled environment. I mean, nature is still going to happen. So I think that there's a lot of plausible explanation when it comes to nature being an issue there. Whether it's I know one guy I was listening to about this was talking about water spouts. Water spouts could, form very, very easily, especially during a storm, and they can come out of nowhere and be incredibly dangerous to mariners and ships and everything out there, to the point that it can capsize your boat, and that can obviously be a very fatal issue for you. Same thing goes with airplanes too. I mean, airplanes, like you said at the beginning of the show, Josh, crash. I don't want to say all the time, but it's not uncommon.
It does happen.
Yeah, it does happen. Especially in over open water where there's smaller airplanes. Maybe the navigation systems aren't that good, and yeah, you can certainly have that issue whether it's a storm or whatever. The other thing that was happening, I'm not sure if you're going to talk about this eventually, Josh, but the gas bubbles coming from the bottom of the ocean.
No, that's good. Let's talk about some of the potentially bad weather or bad situations that could make it so planes and ships are legitimately going under here.
Yeah, and obviously gas bubbles coming up from the surface of the ocean isn't going to do anything to a plane. However, they did say that these gas bubbles, big enough, could, in fact, do some damage to a ship.
Methane hydrate.
Yeah, they can do some damage to a ship to the point of small enough ship, big enough gas bubble, it can sink it.
The other thing they talk about in that area is hexagonal clouds, and in the right positioning, a hexagonal cloud can basically create what in essence becomes an air bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, this is just it is just air, but these clouds combust in just the right way. I'm no scientist, and basically create what the only way they can describe it is basically an air bomb from these hexagonal clouds. Now, what is kind of weird though, I'm just trying to link it back for argument's sake here about some of this stuff, is that it is kind of weird that over this one area that they have the perfect way for ships to go down and also the perfect way for planes to go down.
Again, I think that goes back though, Josh, to the just the high traffic area that this is. And again, we've seen that in other areas too, not necessarily in the water. I mean, we've heard of bad stretches of road that where lots of accidents take place. I don't necessarily think that some curve in the road is due to some supernatural force causing an accident. It could just be a nasty curve in the road that drivers don't compensate very well for.
Now, we live in the Detroit metro area here in Michigan, and at one point I lived right at the corner of 12 Mile and Orchard Lake, which a lot of people know is, if it's not it's one of the worst intersections in all of Metro Detroit or all of Michigan. And there's accidents there a lot. And I never once thought, why is there so many accidents right here? Oh, aliens. I mean, no, it's because there's a whole bunch of people there, and it's a very busy business intersection, and a whole bunch of people there, and every one of them's in a hurry. And you're going in a bunch of different directions, and there's accidents there.
We also have potholes here that'll swallow a Chevy Suburban too,
right?
So.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We eat economy cars here for breakfast, and we're very hungry. And here in Detroit, no doubt about that. But another thing I found to be, very significant, because the one thing I did think was weird, aside from the crashes and with the planes and the ships and submarines as well, they're, the USS Scorpion was a submarine that went down in the Bermuda Triangle. Some people tried to push it off on as maybe the Russians had something to do with it, but that isn't as common as planes and ships. So we do have a case of a submarine losing contact, and
submarines seem like a bad idea.
Oh God, you have to be a special kind of person to be able to get inside a submarine
and actually have it dive and still be in it.
Yeah, no, that's there's something said for anyone that can do that. I give them credit. But the one thing I do find to be very interesting about this is the rampant reports of compasses not working.
Mm-hmm.
I do find that does seem potentially mystical or different or strange that, people back from Columbus up until right now with our amazingly, advanced technology compared to what Christopher Columbus was using, that at all points throughout there, people have talked about their compasses not working. Even multiple compasses not working. But the scientific explanation that I've heard given for this is there is a substance called magnetite, which is a metal, and it is actually the most magnetic naturally occurring substance on planet Earth. And actually, coincidentally, there happens to be 500 billion tons of it in and around Bermuda. Just an amazing amount of this stuff. And if you have some magnetite and you hold a compass next to it, you will see it go haywire. And that is probably the most logical explanation as to why compasses go crazy.
Natural occurrence.
Yeah, while you are around this area, there is the most powerful magnet that nature provides right there. So you hit it just right at the right time, and I feel like this is a big naysaying show thus far. We're kind of we're taking the deep issue and we're dialing it back, but I do feel that probably has something to do with it. But anything else you want to add, Adam, about naturally occurring kind of things or potentially naturally occurring things, or debunking, before we try to maybe talk about some of the
I'm sorry.
things?
Go ahead, Ed.
No,
I was going to say right now, I think one of the biggest supporters to the mystical aspect of all of this is certainly, I think, the lack of evidence when it comes to ships being, debris fields or crash sites or whatever. But again, though, I mean, I think you have to consider where these sites are. I mean, it's not like a plane has crashed in the forest or an open field.
Ocean.
Yeah,
Deep
or
ocean.
Exactly. I mean, there are currents in the ocean constantly moving, which I'm sure is one of the major issues that happened with that one flight.
The Malaysian?
Yeah, the Malaysian flight, yeah. I mean, the biggest mystery to all of that is why they were so off course. Not so much as why they can't find the plane. The reason why they can't find the plane is because it crashed in the ocean. There's current in the ocean.
After it got shot down.
By aliens?
Yeah.
The majority of this world is ocean.
Yeah.
And actually...
In deep ocean, too.
Yeah, the majority of this planet is completely undiscovered and unchecked by us humans. It truly is. I know we like to fancy ourselves as technologically advanced, but truth is that there's a whole other bit of this planet in the ocean.
Well, Josh, look what's going on in Hawaii right now. And Ed, your family's safe there, right?
Yeah, it's not as big of a deal as people are making it out to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is your family on the Big Island?
No, not in Maui. The biggest thing, so my mom works for a clinic out there, and she said that anytime the volcano erupts, generally it causes a lot of smoke, so people will have more asthma attacks and things like that. You see on the news, like, it was up to like 25 houses destroyed. There's 1 million people who live in Hawaii. The Big Island is really big, and although this might be newsworthy because it's a volcano erupting, you don't see that all the time. I don't think it's really that huge of a deal. Actually,
but I guess my point, Ed, though, is like when you bring the technology thing into it, and then the whole aspect of what's going on in Hawaii is there's it doesn't matter how advanced your technology is right now. There's nothing you can really do about a magma flow or a lava flow coming straight for you.
Right.
And I kind of feel like if
Unless you have Tommy Lee Jones here in the LA Fire Department.
A magma flow can't be coming. Right
that's why I switched. That's why I switched to the lava flow.
Yeah, as soon as it comes into the
I know, Professor. Thank you.
So to the best of my knowledge, the Big Island of Hawaii is the only one that actually has an active volcano. And now and then it flows a little bit or smokes here and there. It's never like Mount St. Helens just blows up and just, forms an even bigger island or something like that. But if you live towards the top of that mountain in certain areas, it can't be that much of a surprise if one day it's erupting and I guess I have to leave my home because it might be overtaken with lava in the next day or two. Mm-hmm. Like, and when this stuff happens, it's not like those people didn't have time to even like pack their shit and get out too. Like, you kind of got it. It's like living in Florida and being surprised when you get hit by a hurricane or something. Mm-hmm. Like
or a wildfire in California.
Yeah, it's like it comes with the territory. There's plenty of places in Hawaii you could live in, reasonably expect that shouldn't affect you, but not some of these places that are actually getting affected.
I wonder if they have volcano insurance there.
I don't know.
I have a feeling that they probably can't get insurance when you live that close. Just, kind of like certain places in Florida where it's
the insurance company doesn't want to keep rebuilding and paying out year after year.
I mean, they do as long as they can pass that cost along to us.
Yeah.
The people that have to live in the crap climates all over the country and then pay for everybody's insurance.
We were talking about this last night. I mean, Michigan is like
their house on stilts.
Are we paying for everybody else to live in paradise?
Yes,
they come with the
that absolutely.
Because Michigan, nothing happens here except cold weather.
No, those us fellow people, our friends living in the Midwest here in the United States. Yes, you are dealing with winter every year of your life. And you are paying your insurance rates are paying for other people to live in paradise. To live on houses on stilts in California and Florida, and to live on beaches and by volcanoes and Hawaii. You are absolutely doing that. So
you're welcome.
Know, yeah. Just know that. Yeah, that is what your insurance rates are doing. Yeah, because you have no problem of these things. And then when you are building a home here in like Michigan or in other parts of the Midwest, and
I like to refer to us as the Middle East.
When it costs you an extra $10,000 to $20,000 to put in things like hurricane straps because they've made it code because you need them in Florida. Like that's stupid too.
It doesn't make any sense. But we digress.
I'm glad your mom and everybody safe though.
Yeah, she's fine. I hear volcano erupting and I don't even
pick up the phone.
So I was in
because she's on Maui. You said right?
Yeah, so it's like not even like a big deal. I talked to her about it, but it's not like it's like the volcano has erupted before, and it's not even the potentially most dangerous thing that has happened in Hawaii in the last decade. So having gone there a few times to visit my mom, in 2006, there actually was an earthquake, which I was kind of excited about when it happened. So I was in the hotel on like the third floor, and like the light dimmed out. There's like a brownout, and all of a sudden it started rattling, and it's like, oh shit! Like I just thought they happened all the time, and it's like, oh, I've never been part of an earthquake before. This is awesome. And my girlfriend was in the tub, and yeah, she's like freaking out because it's dark, and I come running out of the room, and there's these two ladies in the room next to us who lived on one of the other islands, and they come running out, and I'm just like, oh, this is so exciting, and they're like, oh my god, we've lived here for our entire lives, and this has never happened, and I'm just like, oh crap, like this is a bigger deal than I thought it was. And yeah, it was like it knocked power out, and like the entire island was in chaos for like an entire day and a half, and then there was like a really bad storm the next day that apparently was related to the earthquake somehow. Like of all the times I've been there, it's rained on and off, but it was pouring nonstop all day long. Like
really
the worst I'd seen. And then in 2010, you may have heard of the tsunami warning that they had. Although that didn't happen, that would have been way worse, like a tsunami hitting the island than a volcano erupting, because it would have potentially damaged like.
Seems like those tsunami warnings are always bullshit.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. Well, because I'm on vacation there, thinking, man, if this tsunami destroys the airport, I'm stranded in Hawaii. Like, I have an excuse not to go to work next week. This is going to be awesome. And
God, that's such an asshole. So they're celebrating earthquakes.
Oh, it was. It was
hoping for tsunami.
It was everybody on the island's freaking out. I'm just like, yes, this is so awesome. This is like going to be the best thing that ever happened to me.
Ed doesn't want to go back. Ed doesn't want to go back to his job. So
it's like reality is right around the corner, and I so don't want that. And we got this spot like up where you could kind of like see on like a couple angles on the island, and it was just like there were so many people. Basically, they evacuated the entire coast. Everybody went up top of the mountain. Like there were like little strip malls where, you know, like the grass area where past like where you park the car, like people were just filled around there, just like everywhere. You tried to go to a store and it was a line up. Like we went to Subway and it took like an hour and a half to get a sub because the line was just like way out the door. And nobody
I just assumed that when you're at a Subway in Hawaii, it always takes like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was business as usual. Like there was no one at the coast at all. Like you could see on the TV, they were showing all the cameras everywhere, and the only people you saw was there was this one mom and her kid like playing on the beach for some reason. They must be deaf and not realize that the place was about to be annihilated. But so I'm sitting there with my camcorder, just like at the time it's supposed to happen, like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna have like all this awesome footage that's gonna end up on YouTube, and I'm gonna be stuck here, and then maybe I'll get a job like rebuilding, and I can just like live here for a while, and it's gonna be awesome. And then it was super anticlimactic, and nothing happened. But the next day, I bought a T-shirt that said, "I survived the tsunami in Hawaii 2010."
Okay, well. I'm gonna desperately try to tie that into the Bermuda Triangle. Do you guys think there's any possibility that the people of Bermuda or South Florida or Puerto Rico are pushing this Bermuda Triangle conspiracy to keep people away and keep paradise to themselves?
No.
I don't know. I could buy into that maybe.
Sell
me on it.
I mean, there were some freaky. There was a freaky aspect to the island of Bermuda when it was first being explored, and it was the call of this bird, this native bird to Bermuda, and they said it sounded like, you know, they compared it to like some type of devilish scream.
Ooh.
But it wasn't. It was just a bird. It was a bird that was native to that island. I forgot the name of it. That just had this.
Isn't Bermuda basically an island made of volcanic ash too?
I think it's on a dormant volcano, and that's the thing too, is it drops off really steep, and you know, you go out, and that could be another explanation too, as far as, you know, the trouble to find wreckage is just how deep this portion of the ocean, of the Atlantic Ocean, is.
You guys want to talk about some of the? I don't want to go too in depth on them because you could go look this stuff up and go find YouTube videos or whatever on just each one of these specific things. But the PBM-3S was a ship where 12 men were on, never seen again.
What year?
5 U.S. bombers in the 1940s.
Uh-huh.
I know you talked about that one, Adam, we were mentioning that one off air beforehand. 5 U.S. bombers in the 1940s, before it was even known as the Bermuda Triangle, disappeared on a training mission. They sent in a search plane to find them. That too disappeared. There is the most, one of the more famous ones is the USS Cyclops. You guys familiar with that one at all? That's this is the biggest U.S. naval death that wasn't from a war. Was in the Bermuda Triangle. 309 crew and passengers, never heard from again. Some people this was March 4th, 1918. Basically, during World War I. Some people have speculated that the captain, who was German-born, was defected to Germany with the ship. But most think that they did seem to disappear.
Wasn't it the call of the fatherland? Wasn't that something during?
Yeah. That was more like 1914, though. the Call of the Fatherland thing. But so it's close, 1918.
Happened during World War II, though, didn't it?
No, World War One, 1918.
Oh, okay.
World War One's 1914 to 1918. But
I know, but I'm saying, didn't people answer the call from the fatherland?
It was a big deal in World War One
as well. But yeah, I think maybe some people did in World War II. Actually, in World War One, a lot of Americans actually wanted us to join the war on the side of Germany when it started out. But then, public opinion kind of shifted towards Britain and France. You guys give any credence to some of the weirder ones? Actually, you know what? Before we do that, I'll branch off into maybe I guess maybe this is a contrived conspiracy by me. But remember we were talking about how it seems that Bermuda Triangle scares used to be a bigger deal when we were kids. It seemed like this was something that popped up all the time, and it seems to kind of disappear. But it actually hasn't really disappeared. There actually was a big disappearance in 2015, and there was actually one last year in 2017. Jennifer Blumen, who is a big-time space enthusiast, kind of famous, actually, in that world, a rich girl, and they, lost track, lost compass control, and disappeared in just last year.
So how many of these get publicity now, though, because of the reputation of the triangle versus if they happened in,
Ed, you might be right, but I was actually thinking it was the opposite. I was thinking, why don't we hear about them anymore? Like, if they're still happening...
It's Illuminati?
If they're still happening in 2015 and 2017, why are we not... Why aren't they a big deal like they used to be in the 80s?
Are we going to get taken off the air here pretty soon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering, like, are they acknowledging that maybe there is something, and now that people pay attention to the internet and that the media is controlled, are they not telling us about them anymore? Are we being kept in the dark about the weird stuff that's going on in the Bermuda Triangle, and then some guy from the UK comes out and says, no, don't worry about it. It's air bombs and magnet rocks.
I guess the thing with that though, Josh, is it seems like we're trying to allude to that. Oh, just because it's the Bermuda Triangle, all of a sudden it's off limits to suspecting anything out of the ordinary happening there. I mean, it's the ocean. The ocean is unpredictable. There's going to be shit that happens there. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily any weirder that she disappears there as opposed to anywhere else.
It's almost like I don't doubt that there are a lot of unexplained phenomenon, missing ships, crashes, so forth, and that have happened in the area. I think it's maybe a bit hasty to jump to conclusions as to maybe why and say, well, it's aliens or it's this or that, because at least to my knowledge, there doesn't appear to be a whole lot of evidence. I mean, it is interesting that, why would it almost seems like it's the more prominent something is. Like, you don't hear about 100 different cruise ships of Joe Blow going missing there. Like, they do send it, at least it's the perception. I don't know if that's the case or not, that maybe if you're a little more high profile, you're more likely to go missing in the area.
So your answer, in essence, to me saying, why didn't they tell us about the these ships going down in 2017? Why didn't they tell us? And I guess your response would be, well, tell me about all the other cruise ships you heard about going down in 2017, Josh. and I can't name those either, around the world. So it's not a bad point, to that.
I think one of the more, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
I think one of the more, would you have another?
Oh, I got a ton.
Anything do you have anything about the Bimini Road?
About the what?
Is it the Bimini Road?
No. Do tell.
It's the Bimini Road is. Let me go ahead and just make sure I get this right. It is it's sometimes called the Bimini Wall, and it's an underwater rock formation near North Bimini Island in the Bahamas, and the road consists of a half-mile long northeast southwest linear feature composed of roughly rectangular to subrectangular limestone blocks, and various claims have been made to this feature being either a wall, road, pier, breakwater, or other man-made structure. However, credible evidence or arguments are lacking for such an origin. A lot of people suspect that maybe this was a sign of the lost continent of Atlantis being there. And perhaps this lost continent of Atlantis has something to do with the disappearances of these planes or ships.
And we've talked about Atlantis on Deep Issues in the past.
Yes.
And this is, a lot of people do believe and theorize, especially even off of Plato's original works, that Atlantis would maybe be in and around that area of the Bermuda Triangle, that is where it would have been. And so then the theory runs from there that if they are a lost city and Atlantis is kind of dead or dormant, then the energy crystals, which many people believe that Atlantis ran off of, because they do believe that they had, technology superior to at least what other people had in those times, that perhaps, energy crystals or technology from Atlantis would interfere with ships or planes and their technology. Now, that sounds crazy a little bit, but there's a whole bunch of people out there that believe in Atlantis, but then they're going to say, what I just said is crazy. You know what I mean? And that's, I don't, you don't get a free pass on that.
Or it could just be whatever swallowed up Atlantis is also swallowing up these boats and planes.
Now, some people take it a step further and say that, because a lot of Atlantis believers believe that Atlantis still exists down there. And that the reason for disappearances that have no rhyme or reason and no wreckage found is that these ships and planes are being transported to Atlantis. That they're being taken.
Atlantis is real. I mean, Aquaman just made a movie.
Right.
I mean, This is a stupid conversation right now.
Well, I mean, listen, though, the problem with Atlantis, though, is that who's in charge down there? Is it Namor or is it Aquaman? Because I've read a whole bunch of, what's obviously true stories about these dudes, and I don't, Atlantis might be a big place, but it's not big enough for the both of them.
Is there some type of civil war happening?
Yeah, it must be. I mean, Aquaman versus Namor. I mean, I don't know how that would play out. I'd like to think Aquaman would probably take him, but I mean, they're both pretty righteous dudes. But so is that the thing? Are all these people that disappeared? Are they still just living down in Atlantis somewhere?
Would it be like the the Gungans or whatever they're called?
Yeah, maybe.
Is that what it looks like here?
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, like you show up at Atlantis, in your plane, and you pop out, and just like, I used to go into the buses.
Shit.
Atlantis is like the worst place on earth.
All right, I'm ready to go.
You sent big doo-doo this time. No again, Jojo.
That's where George Lucas got his inspiration.
Maybe.
Maybe should have stayed there.
So, I mean, could there truly be something with, the theory of Atlantis tying into the Bermuda Triangle? I mean,
it's not. I guess it's not the craziest thing out there. You know, I mean, like I said, people buy into the theory of Atlantis. People buy into, is there something creepy going on in the Devil's Triangle? And then you link them together, and you're like, oh, cut it out. That's nuts. I don't know. I mean, come on. I mean, I thought we were all nuts here. We're talking about Atlantis and the Devil's Triangle, but you know, I don't know. Aliens, man. Aliens are a big one too. And there are an abnormally high amount of UFO sightings. Around that area.
See, this is what's interesting though about the whole theory of Atlantis, though, Josh. Again, we live in a big world. There's a lot of different areas where aliens can, you know, make their presence known, or you know, be spotted at, or whatever. Why that portion then? Why the Bermuda Triangle? Does it have something to do with Atlantis? Was there something with Atlantis? And I know there's always that theory too. Was it with the pyramids? Who made the pyramids? Was it a bunch of ancient Egyptians that, you know, under the help of enslaved people that built this?
The soft sand theory.
Yeah, I mean, those are amazing structures, and you would think in any age it'd be difficult to build, let alone an age where, you know, it's ancient,
where pneumatics don't exist.
Exactly, and more primitive than what we are now. Did aliens have a play into what was happening there? Same thing with Atlantis. I mean, if there's all these theories out there, all these conspiracies that Atlantis was a far more advanced society than their surrounding, were aliens involved with that? And is that the reason why aliens are involved more heavily in that part of the world as opposed to, you know, here in Plymouth, Michigan? Because that is one of the areas where they suspect that it was. I don't know.
Yeah, no, listen, you know, there could potentially be a lot to this. And, you know, some of the things, you know, listen to what Bill Cooper used to say on some of the things with aliens, or listen to what some of the other kind of more respected conspiracy theorists. And as soon as I find a better term to use to describe conspiracy theorists, I'm going to start using it. But I've yet to find one that doesn't sound dumb, because a lot of conspiracies I think are true. You know, but you know, a lot of these guys who are kind of well respected in the culture, in the subculture, if you will, talk about how there is underwater bases, that alien type spacecrafts. Now, are they, you know, super secret government spacecrafts, or are they from a different planet? Well, no, you know, that's why they're unidentified, you know. But a lot of the sightings are talked about coming in and out of water. You know, that there seems to be some sort of portal, if you will, underwater. Now, if that's the case, then maybe the Bermuda Triangle is one of those places. You know, maybe there is some of those. You know, because they talk about it off the coast of Florida, they talk about it off the coast of California a lot. So maybe there's something going on there. Maybe there's some sort of alien entrance point, if you will, in the ocean right there. And could that bit of alien tech or alien activity make compasses go haywire and ships, planes disappear? Well, I don't know. I mean, does it sound crazy? Well, of course it sounds crazy, but you know, if you're one of those people that just doesn't believe in any of that stuff, like, no, I don't believe in the idea of Atlantis is stupid, and there's no aliens, and aliens are stupid, and Bermuda Triangle is stupid, well, then you'll probably think all this is stupid. But if you're buying into some of this stuff, then I don't think it's insane or crazy to link some of it together. You know, but So it's a possibility, is it not? You know, Atlantis, aliens, Aquaman, Namor.
I hope it's Aquaman. God, I hope it's Aquaman and Namor.
Well, you know what, man? Listen, when you form the Justice League, you have, you know, you got a rich elite in Batman, and you've got, you know, your Atlantean and Aquaman, you got your alien and Superman, and so you basically have the Illuminati, Atlantis, and aliens all in one. So yeah, it's basically it's the Justice League are in the Bermuda Triangle. you heard it here first. This is what's happening, and you know they serve for truth and justice in the American way, but sometimes it actually makes a ship crash. I don't know.
We live in an imperfect world.
Yeah,
I mean,
and hopefully like they save them and they, you know, bring them somewhere nice like Atlantis or Bermuda. I don't know.
I always see commercials for Atlantis. You know, it's like that.
Yeah,
that resort in the Bahamas.
There is one story I thought was kind of cool. That you know talked about it being a, you know, because there's ideas of it being a time warp, a wormhole, a black hole in essence. When I was a kid, I always thought of Bermuda Triangle as a black hole. That's what I always thought of it as. I thought it was like a black hole in water on Earth. You know. That's just, I don't know. That's I feel like that's how it was kind of like described to me. But there's a guy, Bruce Gennon Jr., skilled pilot since 1970. And a lot of this is verified. If you go into it, this guy was not some joke. He was a very respected pilot. And the very last part I'll tell you is what is kind of verified that is kind of weird and strange. But a lot of what he described is what they refer to as an electronic fog in a lot of ways. And that's something that a lot of people kind of write off. But 1970, he was up in the air with a crew. His dad was with him as well. He's flying, and he sees kind of a darkness, a blackness, and then some bright flashing lights. And he saw what he described and what others described as basically like a tunnel in the sky. And he said he actually kind of like aimed for the tunnel. Aimed for it basically, and went in and flew out. And he said this was probably a 20-second thing, you know, but you know he was kind of just aimed for it because he didn't know what to do. And some people in the back of the plane described like a weightless feeling. And they said that the compasses on the plane were just spinning, rapidly spinning, super fast. And, that's all weird, right? But the strangest part is that he met up with this big storm, and it was a big deal, and it was scary and all this stuff. But then they arrived at their destination, and it took them 47 minutes to get to their destination, but it was normally a 75-minute flight.
It's time travel.
So he basically, you know, people have theorized that there was some sort of time warp. And maybe a lot of the time the people get sucked into said time warp and never come back, but maybe this dude, whether it was skill or luck or whatever, maybe he hit it just right and shot right through it, and 30 minutes of his life just kind of got skipped or something. And I just thought that was a cool story because it doesn't come from some lunatic. It doesn't come from somebody crazy. It's pretty well verified by a crew full of people on the plane and the people that were awaiting him showing up. Not for another 28 minutes.
It's been a long time since our time travel deep issues. Was there any type of physics explanation for time travel? Is there anything like that?
I don't know. I don't. You know, we did a time travel show. I wouldn't mind doing another one at some point in the future. I think it's a great topic. I don't see us doing another Bermuda Triangle one in the future because I feel like there's only so much to say. But I would love to do another time travel one.
The thing with time travel is that I love to believe in crazy stuff, but as I said in our time travel show, I have trouble believing in time travel. At least in perfected, controlled time travel, because if time travel exists, where are all the time travelers?
Like in a Back to the Future sense.
Yeah. Like, if time travel exists, where are all the time travelers? Because that would mean that time is relative and that people in the future would... If time travel was ever possible, then there would be people in the future who could time travel, and then they would be here. They would, maybe they are. Maybe they're here screwing with us all the time. We just don't know it. Maybe that's why the world's so screwed up, because there's a bunch of time travelers from the year 3000, and they're here, going crazy all the time.
It seems like the world has always been crazy, but every morning when you wake up, it's actually crazier. You just don't realize that it's happening.
Right. That is the problem. But hey, that has been our Bermuda Triangle show. We're going to go around before we go to Pumpkin and find out the next topic for the next episode of Deep Issues. Let's go around and talk to our Deep Issues crew and see what's up. Adam Hernandez, what do you think, Bermuda Triangle? Something going on there, or just a whole lot of nothing?
Unfortunately, I would love to think that there's some Atlantis aspect to this, some Aquaman, Namor. I'd love to think that that's... God, I hope it's not the Gungans or whatever it is you call them. Please, God, no.
Mira, Aquaman's wife. She was badass.
Was she? I would love to think that there was some type of thing into play there, but I think the explanation to all of this is science and technology. Science in terms of weather, natural phenomenon happening to take down these planes and these ships, and technology that we have nowadays to circumvent some of those natural phenomena and the natural aspects of it. Better guidance systems in planes and in ships. That's the reason why we don't hear so much about it anymore, is because these vessels are equipped with better technology to help them avoid catastrophe out in the open ocean. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, makes sense. Ed Zaharsky, what do you think? Bermuda Triangle, final thoughts?
I guess at first glance, there's like, oh wow, that's scary. Like, why are there all these unexplained phenomenon and plane crashes and shipwrecks, and a lot of them do have a feasible explanation. It's not to say that every single one of them can be explained, because very clearly we can't. But I think this is an area where, if there are some things, and there may well be, it's lost in the noise because there's so much sensationalism about things that, as we discussed, do actually have an explanation. That, Atlantis could be down there, and aliens could be, maybe they're visiting because they want to enter the Earth's atmosphere over the ocean rather than land where everybody's going to see them. And, and there's a bunch of other actual things that are happening, but it gets lost because this is an area that is just so rife with just like out in left field conspiracies with basically very little to no evidence to sort of back them up.
Yeah, guys, for the most part, I agree with you. Listen, most of the things that happen, do weird things happen in the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah, I think they do, but is most of it just kind of weird instances and semi-explainable things? Yeah, I think it is for the most part. I really do. It doesn't mean that I would never want to hear another thing about Atlantis, or never want to hear another thing about aliens, or never want to hear another thing about the Bermuda Triangle. But for the most part, I don't buy into most of it. You could talk about crazy instances where things go unfound. Those are all over the world, though.
I was going to say,
they're everywhere.
I certainly believe in aliens, but I don't think that the notion of aliens in the Bermuda Triangle is just because of it being the Bermuda Triangle. I think what you said, Ed, is when when you're dealing with aliens, it's more plausible that they're landing over open ocean, in order for them not to be spotted, as opposed to landing in the middle of Rockefeller Center in New York City. It's
you know what's something, and you guys are both making this point here. You know what's something that no one ever likes to acknowledge or plays into it when talking about aliens is that, these interstellar beings who fly these spaceships into Earth and come here, let's just assume for argument's sake that they're smarter than we are. Okay, let's just assume that, okay? Not like we're all so stupid, but, I mean, come on. Do you have a spaceship?
No.
Yeah, neither do I. So I'm just guessing that they're probably actually smarter than we are. So, if you thought of the idea that, hey, wouldn't it be smarter to fly in over water so none of the Earthlings see us? If you guys thought about that, I bet the aliens did too. I bet they thought about that a while ago. Like, hey, Zarnoff, don't fly over the United States like you did last time, you dope.
you destroy the crops when you do that.
Yeah, exactly. You're leaving those circles. Cut it out, man. I know you think that shit's funny, but stop it. 2/3 of the Earth's water. Fly over that, asshole.
That's the alien, the equivalent to the guy that does donuts in a parking lot when there's snow.
Yes, cut it out.
What? I'll leave the cows alone too, jerk.
But hey, that has been our Bermuda Triangle episode. We are now going to go to Pumpkin. Adam is going to pick up Pumpkin. He's going to shake it. He's going to put it in Ed's face. Ed is going to reach in and grab out a piece of paper, and then he's going to hand that piece of paper to Adam.
I think there's only 3 of them in here, too.
3 or 4, yeah.
And then Adam will read it. We are getting short, which means we'll soon need to refill Pumpkin.
Yep.
Probably in some crazy owl ceremony with a bunch of Republicans.
Naked.
Well, yeah, if you're going to get a group of Republicans together and worship an owl, you're going to wear clothes?
Yep.
Cut it out.
And I think they're going to burn a fake corpse, too.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Fake? Hopefully.
Yeah, good point, Ed.
Hopefully it's a Democrat. All right, so the next...
When is our next Deep Issues episode, Ed?
I think it's this month.
Yeah, so we get a second one this month.
29th.
Okay, so May 29th of this month, and
our topic will be Adam Hernandez.
It's a part 2.
Oh.
Josh, you're going to love it.
Okay.
Simulation theory.
Oh, yes. This is my favorite topic. Okay.
I am excited. Part 2 of simulation theory. Was this our very first?
It's one of them. It was one of them.
This was, yeah. If it wasn't our very first, it was one of our.
I think the Apocacast was the unofficial first Deep Issues.
Right. That was Deep Issues number 1 before it was actually called Deep Issues.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think you are right. But yes, part 2 of simulation theory. I am so excited about this. This really is my very favorite topic. I must say. So for me, for Ed, for Adam, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Come with us next week when we'll be back at this time slot on the Xcast, and join us on May 29th when we'll be discussing the Matrix simulation theory and all the different.
Are we going to be watching the Matrix?
You can watch the Matrix if you want. We're not going to watch it on air.
Oh.
I don't trust the attention spans of the people on this show to do a show and watch the Matrix at the same time, because that's a cool movie. But thanks everybody for tuning in. We will we'll see you soon right here on the EmpireMedia.com. Lots of great shows. Check them out. History, music, politics, deep issues, regular old stuff too. So come join us anytime. Please, please, please. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye for now.